Okay, going home. So this week we celebrate Halloween, and I've enjoyed Halloween ever since I was a little kid. When I was young, it was because of the candy, but now as an adult, it's because of the costumes. When I was a kid growing up in the projects, the costumes were not as elaborate as they are today. Our costumes basically consisted of putting on a plastic mask, getting a paper bag, and then going trick-or-treating. When I was in 3rd grade, I had a neighbor who was also my classmate. And at the beginning of the year, I tried to befriend him as we walked home from school. He did not walk all the way home because he had a grandmother who lived close to the school. But I would always walk with him as he walked to his grandmother's house, and I tried to talk to him. He was very shy, and so initially he just wouldn't say anything. So eventually, when I found out where he lived very close to me, I started to try to make friends with him. And like I said, he was very shy, so he would never come outside to play. So the first few conversations took place through the screen door of his house, but at least he was talking to me by then. So by the time that October came around, we were fairly good friends. We had talked about all different types of topics. And so as the end of October approached, the topic of Halloween came up. And I asked him if he was going to go trick-or-treating, and he said no. He had never done it before. And so I started to try to convince him to go trick-or-treating with me. But he kept insisting that he didn't like it. And of course I would ask him, how do you know that you don't like it if you've never done it before? So as the days went by, you could see that he was starting to think about it. And so as Halloween approached, I kept trying to give him guarantees that I would stay with him all the while, that we would only go to the neighbor's house, that if he started to feel uncomfortable, that we would come back home. So finally the day of Halloween arrived, and I thought I had convinced him to go with me. So when I went to his house to pick him up, wearing my ghost mask and carrying my paper bag, he announced to me that he didn't have a mask. I think he thought that that would be enough reason not to go trick-or-treating with me. So I told him, that's no problem, I'll make you a mask. So I ran to my house. At home, I had some construction paper and some rubber bands and some glue and a stapler and some glitter. I was a nerd that way. And I made a mask for him. It was very rustic, not very fancy, but it did cover his face. And I convinced him that it looked great. So he grabbed a paper bag and we made our way to the first house. And like I said, we were only going to go to neighbor's house, so everybody knew who we were. So we finally made it to the door of the first house. And I knocked on the door and we yelled, "Trick or treat." He didn't say it very loudly, but I said it loud enough for both of us. So I guess because we were the first trick-or-treaters, the whole family came to the door. And as they opened the door, once again we yelled, "Trick or treat," and we held out our bag. And then, as if it had been planned, his mask tore in half and snapped back to either side of his face. And everybody started laughing. And as hard as I tried, I started laughing too. It was just a silly situation. Again, if we had planned it, it wouldn't have worked out so perfectly. So needless to say, he ran back home, very embarrassed by the whole thing. We didn't even get any candy. And I chased after him, trying to apologize. But at the same time, I was laughing too, because the whole thing was just so funny. Well, I didn't go trick-or-treating that night, because the rest of the evening, I sat there at his door, trying to convince him that I did not mean to laugh, and trying to convince him that I was very sorry that I did laugh, and that the people laughed not at him, but at the whole situation. So finally, after a long time, he started to laugh about it too. And even though it took me some time to gain his trust back, we became very good friends over the years. But that Halloween, I didn't get any candy. My goodness.